Hey everyone, it is Jeremy. You have definitely manifested this video today, and today I'm going to talk about how it is easy to become rich. And before you click off, you're like, oh, this guy, another guy talking about that. I'm talking about a realistic way, right? I'm not going to talk about, everybody and their mom wants your money, especially in the financial industry. So they try to make it confusing and they want to make it seem hard to invest. Investing is actually very boring and very easy. And to become wealthy, it's very boring and very easy. If you understand a couple things. And the main thing is consumer debt, right? Like your debt is the biggest reason you are not financially free. And because when you have debt, you pay interest on that debt. And then you're paying so much per month. And most people are like, oh, well, if I can afford this per month, then I can afford it. But really, if you can't afford to buy something cash, you can't afford it. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. And I understand that because I don't like to hear that either. But now since I know it, now I only buy things cash. And there's certain ways to save up for those things. And it's hard for a lot of people to put yourself on a budget. That would be the number one thing. Is I know it sounds really simple, really stupid, and for a long time I always thought that was dumb. I was like, a budget? Really? What does that do? Anyways, so when you put yourself on a budget, what you're doing is where every one of your dollars is going. When you look at your budget, you know how much you're spending. And once I realized how much I was spending, I was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh. I want you right now, today, I want you to look at your accounts throughout the past month. And I want you to go line by line and look at all the stuff you spent, right? You're going to be shocked. Now, what I want you to do then, it's Rocket Money app. That's what I use. I use the Rocket Money app. It's like $5 a month, I think. Is you hook up all your information to there. It shows everything. Categorize it. It's awesome. And then I want you to put yourself and look at all the stuff you have and think about the stuff you don't need, right? Cut all the expenses you don't actually need and look for ways to cut expenses, right? And I know it's going to seem hard at first, and it will be. It was hard for me. So what I did is I practiced gratitude. Because if you're not grateful for what you have now, right, you're not going to be grateful for the things you have in the future. And if you want to be abundant and wealthy in the future and you're not grateful for the things you have now, you're never going to be abundant and wealthy in the future because you're not grateful for the things you have now. So put yourself on a budget. And then you want to pay off all your credit cards and all your debt, except obviously your house payment. But anyways, so you want to pay off all your credit card debt from the lowest amount of debt. And it's a behavioral reason because most people will be like, well, why am I paying off the lowest amount of debt and not the highest interest? Because it's behavioral. So if you pay off your lowest first, you're going to get that reward, that feeling of, oh my gosh, I paid that off. That's awesome. Now, compared to if you had a really high one, really high interest with the highest amount, it's going to take you forever and you're going to lose motivation very fast. So you pay off the lowest amount and you go up. And I had a car. I was paying almost let's say $700 a month. And I was going to be doing that for 84 months. Could you imagine how much money I would have saved or how much money I would have made for all that money if I would have invested that? So I ended up paying that car loan off in 22 months. So now every month I can put $700 into my investment account. So if you end up having, let's say you have an average, I think the average car payment is like $600 a month right now. So if you had a car payment for $600 a month And most people, they always keep a car payment. Like they never officially pay it off, or they lease, right? That would end up costing you $5.5 million in 40 years if you invested that money. So my 84-month loan, if I invested that money, I would have doubled it in that same amount of time. So in that same amount of time, by not investing that money, I did not double my money. I lost money, because the second a car leaves, it loses its value. And my car's value is almost in half in just a couple of years. So that's like why debt is bad, and why you should be, consumer-wise, you should be debt-free. And the other thing is, they say 15% of everything you make should go into an investment account, right? And when you do that, you know, it's behavior, right? And the other thing is, a lot of people don't realize, because people are like, well, I want to save for a car. Like, how do you save for a car? So what I did is, so I have a brand new car now. I just paid it off. So I figured out how long my car is going to last me, right? And then, so let's say my car is going to last me 5 years. How much will a brand new car cost, 5 years from now? Let's say a car is going to cost me $50,000 in 5 years. So let's say if I'm going to go buy a $50,000 car in 5 years. So what I do now is I put $10,000 away every year. It's a percentage. So let's say I put 10% away of everything I make, and I put that in a money market account, because it's like a savings account, but you make way more money on it. It's like paying like 4.5% right now. So 10% of everything I make goes towards that and saving up for my next car. And that's really how you're supposed to do it, because the banks are the ones who have the skyscrapers in the air. Look at all their skyscrapers, look at all their furniture. You're paying for that. You're paying for all that stuff. So it's about time you start putting that money in your pocket, and you start being a lot more smarter with your money, and not learning the hard way like I had to, because you're supposed to save. That's really how you're supposed to get to where you want to be financially, save and invest. And the reason why, you pay that interest is because you're paying for the opportunity to have that money. So it's a whole complete mind shift, right? It's totally different mind shift. So instead of using debt, right, to get something now, so you're using your future earnings to buy something now. So instead of doing that, what you're going to start doing is you're going to start putting away money. So then in the future, you don't have to borrow money. So you want to put yourself on a budget. You want to pay off all your consumer debt. You want to invest 15% of your money. And you want to every week go through your finances. Because if you go through your finances every week, you're going to see what you're spending your money on. And then you're going to be like, oh, what did I spend my money on that I could not have? So you want to be aware of that all the time, right? Because most of our spending is subconscious, right? Most of us, if we're in a bad mood or something, like you won't even realize it, but you're spending money when you're in a bad mood, right? A lot of it's subconscious. You don't even realize it. I can tell you how many times I went and spent money and didn't even realize I was just, subconscious, not even paying attention. And the mood wasn't the greatest, and I was spending money. And it's crazy how you do that. It comes down to self-image too, because at the end of the day, when you have a self-image like that, you actually self-sabotage yourself. So you could be like, oh, I want to be rich and everything, and you could be telling yourself that, and on a surface level, if you don't truly believe that and you don't practice that, but you think it, there's a difference between thinking it on surface level and believing it. Because if you believe it and you practice it daily, You won't be in the position you're currently in watching my video. But if you watch more of my videos, hopefully you'll be in a better position. And now, so I was living paycheck to paycheck. And that was my self-image, right? I wasn't doing too great. I wasn't that grateful for things. And, you know, my self-image put me in that position. But now, since I understand how money works, and I know that if I do these principles, I will be rich, like it is guaranteed. If you do this, you will be rich. You might not be rich tomorrow, you might not be rich next year, but it's the process. Everything is behavior. Everything you want to do is behavior. You can't say, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, and then the next day you feel like shit and you don't say any of these positive things, and then you go and then behavior-wise you go and do something that you don't believe that way, right? If you truly believe that, you would not be acting that way. And literally in 6 months, I went from paycheck to paycheck, stressed out, freaking out. You know, I had a really nice apartment on the water. And in 6 months, I cut my expenses so much, I'm saving 50% of everything I make. 50% of everything I make, it now goes straight into my account, my Vanguard account. That's what I do. Whenever I make money, 50% of it goes straight in my Vanguard account. And that goes towards investing. And there's so much percentage I put towards my car and towards emergencies and all that stuff. And I hope you guys got something out of this video. I enjoyed making it, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I'd appreciate if you like and subscribe, and if you have any other things you want me to talk about topic-wise, I'd appreciate you guys comment below how much money you want to be worth in the next 10 years. Until next time, see you everyone.